Oi, Hughie, let's talk about who's gonna die in The Boys Season 5. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. So The Boys Season 5 drops, at least the first 2 episodes, this week. I've been rewatching the entire show leading up to it. This is one of the few remaining TV shows that I've actually watched multiple seasons of live, if that makes sense. We lost Stranger Things, we lost Squid Game, we lost Cobra Kai. I mean, we've lost a lot of shows recently. They've ended. But I wanted to do a death prediction tier list, a final one. I did this with Stranger Things. I had a blast with it. And this is a show that I think actually is going to kill characters. They have made it clear it's probably going to be a bloodbath. There's going to be carnage. I haven't read the comics, so I don't know anything that happens in those. I also know the show has veered from a lot of the comics, and they kind of have made their own thing and make it their own identity, so we don't know who's really going to die. It could be carnage. We'll find out in a few days. But I got my tier right in front of me, and I'm going to dive into this. Before I do, hit that like button, comment down below your death predictions for The Boys Season 5, and of course, subscribe into that notification bell. But without further ado, I say we just dive into this thing. So the tiers I have are alive and well, should be safe, up in the air, not looking too good, and rip. I am going to put a lot of characters in RIP. Maybe I'm crazy, but I just have a feeling that a lot of characters are going to go. This is a show that's built a reputation for being gross with violence, over the top, gory. I just imagine some of these characters are going to meet a pretty gruesome death, but only time will tell. Anyway, first character on the list is The Deep, played by Chace Crawford. I don't see a reason to kill him necessarily. I'm kind of up in the air on The Deep because I could see a world where he gets what's coming to him, and he's obviously a really shitty dude. He's done some awful things. Most of the characters in the show have, especially those associated with Vought. I'm going to say up in the air because he's like the total kind of loser that would just get away and like live, but just have a podcast kind of reminiscing on the glory days, being like, oh, I remember my time in the 7. He could totally just be an embarrassment for the rest of his life, or he could die. I think it might actually serve his character better if he has to just live as like a fool his whole life. I don't know who would kill him. Starlight, maybe? I just think The Deep will end up making it out. I lean him making it out, but I put him in up the air because it's kind of like one of those coin tosses where I'm not willing to take a definitive stance on if he lives or dies. Whereas with Hughie, for example, I think Hughie's alive and well. I'm putting him at the top of alive and well. I think of all the characters, he's the one that I think will live to tell this tale. I'm the most comfortable in saying that. A lot of these characters have gone through awful things. A lot of these characters are awful people. Hughie, at the end of the day, I like to believe is somewhat good inside. I think there's goodness in him. Obviously, the show opens with the brutal death of his girlfriend, Robin, right in front of him. So that traumatized him and sort of set him on the path to meeting Butcher and getting inducted sort of into the boys group as the seasons, went along. I just think, especially after the death of his dad and all this craziness, I have a feeling because of the crazy crap he's witnessed and kind of how he was thrown into this mess that he'll end up living. And maybe I'm being too optimistic there, but I think someone deserves a somewhat happy ending in this show, even though it is The Boys, and I don't expect everyone to ride off into the sunset. If someone's going to, I think it's going to be Hughie, and so I'm going to say he's going to be alive and well. I just don't see them killing this character for some reason. Next, we have MM, or Mother's Milk. On my rewatch, love MM. He's like a top 3 character for me, arguably, at the end of the day. There's so much great characterization of him in like season 3 to 4, like especially when he loses his family for a bit there, and you got Todd stepping in as like this father figure for Janine. It's very messed up, and I hope that he can maybe have a hero's death if he goes out where he sacrifices himself to save his daughter. I think that would be the most fitting end for him. I also want justice. I want to see him get justice for the death of his grandpa at the hands of Soldier Boy. That obviously messed up the rest of his family psychologically, him included. That was like the beginning of his whole OCD. I hope that he is able to see justice for the death of his grandfather. And I think that is going to involve maybe him playing a hand in the death of Soldier Boy. That'd be satisfying. But weirdly enough, on my recent rewatch, I'm getting the vibes that MM is going to die. I just think he's going to sacrifice himself for his family. I'm going to put him in not looking too good. I got a gut feeling MM could go, and it could be like a real shocker. Because I think there's some people who are like, oh, MM will make it, and there's like a comfort to that, but I don't know how good I feel about really anyone in the show the more I think about it. Next, we have Sage, who, for the sake of this video, I think will die. I think Sage was sort of pinned for death when they labeled her as like the smartest person in the world. That kind of puts a target on your back, especially when you're working so closely with Homelander, someone who has a crazy big ego. I am of the opinion that Homelander could end up killing off Sage almost because of insecurity. He could feel as though he needs to have all the say and all the power behind the scenes, even though Sage was obviously directly responsible for influencing some of his decisions and pulling strings in season 4 that led to the chaos and events that we're going to see unfold in season 5. I think he's going to have a bit of a power trip and maybe off her and be like, screw you, I'm doing this my way. and I could see her dying that way. That's kind of where I'm at least. Next, we have A-Train. I think this character's death has been hinted at heavily ever since he's sort of been set on this redemption arc where he wants to try and do the right thing. There's a scene in season 4, great scene, where he's walking with his two nephews, and then his brother pulls up, the father of these two kids, and he's like, your uncle A-Train is basically a fraud, and all of his saves are fake, and the story he just told you is BS. And that kind of set A-Train back. He was like, damn, I want to make amends. At least I want to believe deep down A-Train wants to be a better person and actually make a difference. So it would be kind of a fitting end for him to pay the price for his wrongdoings. And obviously he killed Hughie's girlfriend. He's done some really shitty things to pay the ultimate price, the sacrifice, in order to take down the greatest evil in the show, which is Homelander. So I could see him playing a hand in like some sort of plot to kill Homelander, where we're going to lose multiple characters, but they know it's at stake. They're willing to pay the price of their life in order to bring him down because he is so evil. I could see A-Train going out. So I'm going to say A-Train's a goner. I'm going to put him in this tier. I think he's going. I'm going to put him actually probably at the top of this tier. I don't know. That's what I'm going to specify is the higher they are here, the more likelihood of death they have. But if they're in RIP, I think they're going to go. So it doesn't really matter where they place. Next, we have Firecracker, who is despicable, really, in season 4, especially when she reveals, like, a deep secret about Starlight on freaking national television. It's just disgusting, really. This is a character who, much like the Deep, I don't know what we stand to gain by killing her. I think she's awful, horrible person, really. But I feel like she could just be, like, doing a podcast with the Deep, where she's kind of just a loser after the fact. So I'm going to put her in up in the air, because I don't know where I stand. I just think she's someone who could totally live, and there's other characters of more consequence whose death would mean more and have a greater impact on the show than Firecracker, if that makes sense. Now, next we have Frenchie and Kimiko, and I put them here together on purpose because I think one of them is going. I think 100% one of these two characters is dying, one of them is living. I don't think they both live, I don't think they both die, one of them's going out. And I lean Frenchie being the one to die, and let me tell you why. I'm actually going to put him here in the RIP tier. I think he's actually going to die pretty early on in the season. I think what's going to happen is Frenchie is going to sacrifice himself for Kimiko, and it's going to parallel a moment in season 2 in which Kimiko sacrifices herself for Frenchie, right? At that time, as the audience, when we're watching this scene go down, it's near the end of one of the season 2 episodes, like it's the cliffhanger. Kimiko gets messed up by the OG Noir, like basically butchered up, and we all think she just died sacrificing herself for Frenchie, but little did we know she has regenerating powers, so she just healed from it, kind of like Wolverine or Deadpool. And so we didn't know. We were like, holy crap, they just killed Kimiko. I think there's going to be a reversal of that where Frenchie like is like, go, you got to get out of here. Boom. He gets killed. He dies for real. And then Kimiko comes back and sort of comforts him and holds his dying body. I think it'll be really messed up, but I'm a madman. I think Kimiko I think she should be safe. I'm going to put her right here, right? If we're talking characters with traumatic backstories, she's got one of the most traumatic for sure. I'm going to say she should be safe. I'm not like willing to say with my full chest that she lives, but I think she should be safe because I think Frenchie's going to die. And you can't kill them both. Maybe you can, though. It's the boys. They can do whatever the hell they want, right? Next, I have 2 Gen V characters because we know they're going to be in this season based on the trailer. We have Jordan and we have Marie Moreau. I think both of them live. I'm going to put them up there right now, alive and well. The reason being is that they will be saved for a potential 3rd season of Gen V. Now, Gen V has not been greenlit for season 3 quite yet. I'm really hoping we get that, but I have a strong gut feeling that they are going to announce that after The Boys season 5. And if that's the case, these characters need to be in that season so they can close out their stories in their own show. I just think it would be a little weird if Gen V characters died in The Boys because the possibility of a 3rd season still exists. And if that were the case, your 2 leads essentially, and Jordan and Marie Moreau, you'd want them around, right? And maybe they will play a hand in taking down Homelander, but I just think I saw a clip where Eric Kripke said the events of Gen V will be important and those characters will play a role, but this is The Boys at the end of the day, and it's more about those characters. So I think they will be saved for Gen V Season 3. Call me crazy. Next, we've got Ashley. Ashley, look at me. And then I just think of TikTok edits. Anyway. Look at me. Ashley, I'm a little more up in the air on as well. I would say not looking too good, based on the position she's in, based on the fact that Homelander could kill her with ease. Even though she did take Compound V at the end of Season 4, we really don't know what's come of that. What powers is she going to have? Like, what is her deal going to be in Season 5? That's something that's kind of up in the air. I just have a feeling that she's not going to make it out of this thing, but I'm not willing to say outright rip. I'm just going to say not looking too good for her. I could see it almost being played for comedy where she tries to like use powers and it backfires on her and Homelander just kills her. I don't know how much blood's going to be shed this season, but we do have a shot of Homelander beating someone to a pulp in the trailer. Is it Ashley? Is it A-Train? Is it a character I haven't mentioned yet? Now next we have Starlight, and this is going to be again the optimist in me. I have a feeling that she's going to make it out and her and Hughie can settle down. Now I don't know if that's off base or not, because this is The Boys, but every show, for the most part, allows for some characters to have a semblance of a happy ending. Loss could be experienced, you might be grieving the death of those around you, but you still get to keep your life. I think that Starlight and Hughie are going to get to have that, hopefully settle down, maybe out of the spotlight, or maybe there's like a new world where, you know, good soups can exist and actually be positive role models, and it's not just fake bullshit all set up by Vought. We'll see, but I'm gonna say she should be alive and well. But honestly, of the characters up here, I could see her being the one most likely to die, so I'll put her in the back of alive and well, but only time will tell. I'm a little skeptical about that. Next, we have Noir 2, someone who I think should be safe. Main reason being, this character basically was played for comedy in season 2, and I have a feeling that with Noir 2, he's someone who could just walk away from this thing near the end of the season. He's like, you know what, F this, I'm out of here, and he just walks away and we don't see him again. So I'm gonna put him in should be safe, just because we already saw Noir die, the OG Noir, who was in the show for longer, had more of an actual backstory. This guy's kind of just an actor, I'm pretty sure, playing Noir, so it's silly, but I just think he'll be safe in the end. Then we got Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy's gonna die. Let me tell you why. We're already getting a Soldier Boy prequel in Vought Rising, where we're gonna get our fix of him and get sort of a in-depth backstory on him more than we already have. So they're gonna save him for that. More importantly, this character was brought back from decades past canonically. So we've already sort of gotten past this guy's golden age. He's in an era where he doesn't belong. Characters like that don't survive. Soldier Boy is gonna die. Now, we know his powers take away the powers of other soups. That's certainly going to play a role potentially in the death of Homelander. Based on the trailer, it seems like Homelander and Soldier Boy are working together, which kind of seems like they're going to be an unstoppable force, but there's got to be some sort of twist or some sort of reveal along the way for sure. I got a feeling he dies, so I'm going to put him right here. I think that, honestly, he's for sure dying. I'm saying it with my chest. Soldier Boy's dead. Even if it's a result of like him combusting, using his powers, but it somehow kills him as well, I just think he's gonna die. I gotta put him there. The same can be said for Butcher. The writing's been on the wall with Butcher since season 3. I'm aware he has some new powers now, but Butcher and Homelander are on a collision course that I just see resulting in death. We'll talk about Homelander in a second and a possible alt route with him. I think of all the characters down there, Butcher, frankly, of this whole tier list, Butcher is the most likely to die. It's just because they've set it up. The writing is on the wall. I mean, he will probably sacrifice himself for Hughie or Ryan. If he sacrifices himself for Hughie, it's because he sees Lenny in Hughie. That was, of course, his little brother who he feels responsible for. Butcher's kind of always viewed himself as like a big brother to Hughie in a sense, in some ways, in Butcher's own unique way, right? And then with Ryan, he made a promise to Becca. Basically, when Becca was dying, she was like, make sure Ryan's one of the good ones in the end. And so Butcher feels some responsibility to Ryan in a sense, almost as a father figure, because Homelander's a real piece of shit. He wants to save and preserve the one good piece of Becca that remains in this world. And so he'll sacrifice himself for one of those two if I had to guess. So I am going to say just rip. There's no world in which Butcher makes it out alive, to me. Then we got Stan Edgar, played by Giancarlo Esposito. I make a joke all the time when I bring this up, like, he's almost contractually obligated to die in, like, half the project he's in. So I'll kind of just say he's up in the air. Put him, like, right here. I just don't know. With Giancarlo playing a character, man, you really don't know. Then we got Ryan, of course, this is Homelander's son, who Butcher is like a father figure to. I'm so torn. I have a strong feeling Ryan lives. This could, again, be the optimist in me, but I don't know how dark the show wants to get. Because to me, if they want to have some positivity or some message of hope at the end of this dark story, Ryan surviving would be that hope. That symbol of hope, potentially. He could be like the actual Superman of this world, post-Homelander, post-Vought in the 7. He could be the first real, true, good hero that inspires hope among people. I would love to see that, and that's the route I'm going. If they don't go that route, that's totally fine, but that's kind of what I'm choosing to believe. So I'm going to say at the end of the day, I'm just going to come out and say it. I think Ryan will live. I think he'll be alive and well. Do they want to kill him? I'm not sure, but he might have a duel with his father, a fight with Homelander, and damn, that could get ugly. So that's the one that I'm the most uncertain about. I know a lot of people think Ryan's gonna die. I just think he's gonna make it out. I don't know. I think that the one good piece of Becca living would be fitting, considering the hell she went through in her life. And finally, I saved him for last on purpose. We've got Homelander, or John, if you will. I think Homelander's going to die. This has been the crux of the show for season after season. Can we kill Homelander? You know, we got to devise a plot to kill Homelander. They've tried and failed. They've tried and failed. We're in the final season now. There's no saving Homelander for next season. I've always said there's really no show without Homelander, so it makes sense as to why he's continued to live. Well, there's no season 6. He has to die. I think him and Butcher are on a collision course. They're probably going to fight to the death, and that might be cliche. That might be predictable. Perhaps it doesn't result in death. Maybe Homelander kills Butcher in like episode 6, and somehow A-Train, Starlight, and others have to find a way to kill him, but he is dying this season. I'm putting him right here, right next to Homelander, or excuse me, right next to Butcher. I think they both go out in this epic showdown. Now, if not, here's how Homelander could live, and I think we could still be satisfied as viewers. There's a world where maybe Soldier Boy's powers take away Homelander's powers, so he is left to live out his days as a puny, weak human from his point of view. The people that he's viewed as dirt beneath his feet, that he's spit on essentially, and viewed as inferior beings, he is left to rot in a prison cell as one of them without his powers. That would be a fitting way for his character arc to come to a close, in my opinion. I could see them going either route, but I lean them just straight up killing him. That way they can't open the door down the line for, oh, he could take Compound V or whatever. Like, no. Somehow, fully, his powers are gone and he can never have access to them again. That's one route they could go, but I think he is going to pay the price in the end. But that's just my tier list ranking of my final death predictions for The Boys Season 5. Let me know yours in the comments down below, and of course, hit that like button. Subscribe to that notification bell if you want to be notified for my future videos, including coverage of The Boys Season 5 once it is all out. But thank you guys, as always, for watching. Stay tuned for more videos coming very soon, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.